It was supposed to be just another night on Ringo Starr's fall tour, a celebration of decades of music, joy, and legacy. Fans had been eagerly anticipating his performance in Philadelphia at the TD Pavilion, clutching tickets and memorabilia, excited to see the legendary drummer in person. Ringo, at 85, had been on a remarkable streak, performing with his all-star band for weeks without interruption. But just hours before the show, the unthinkable happened. Ringo announced he was canceling the concert due to a sudden health issue. Social media erupted as fans tried to process the news. For many, this wasn't just any performer postponing a show, it was Ringo Starr, a man whose energy, optimism, and iconic presence had always seemed unstoppable. The sudden announcement left fans worried and confused, and those who had been following the tour closely could only imagine what had prompted such a drastic decision. The lead up to the show, everything had seemed normal in the days leading up to the Philadelphia performance. The tour had begun on September 7th, 2024, in San Diego, and the response had been overwhelmingly positive. 10 shows had gone by smoothly, each filled with fans singing along to the timeless Beatles classics and Ringo's solo hits. The atmosphere backstage had been upbeat, the camaraderie among the musicians evident, and Ringo had been in good spirits, as usual. But on the morning of September 24th, something changed. Those closest to him noticed that he wasn't his usual self. The first signs were subtle: a quieter voice, a bit of fatigue, a slower step. At first, it seemed like a minor cold, something he could shake off and perform through, as he had countless times before. But as the hours ticked by, it became clear that this was not an ordinary case of feeling under the weather. His energy levels dipped further, his laughter was less spontaneous, and the brightness that had always characterized him seemed subdued. Realizing the severity, Ringo consulted with his medical team, who gave clear advice. Continuing to perform could worsen his condition, and at his age, even a seemingly small illness could have significant consequences. The doctor's guidance was firm: rest immediately. For a man who had spent decades on the road performing show after show, this was a heavy decision to make. It wasn't just a single missed concert, it was canceling an entire night of experiences, memories, and emotional connections for thousands of fans. The gravity of the situation was felt by everyone around him. Despite this, Ringo's decision was thoughtful and responsible. He prioritized his health without hesitation, fully aware that pushing forward could lead to more serious complications. By mid-afternoon, the official announcement went out. Both the Philadelphia concert and the final show in New York City at Radio City Music Hall were canceled. Fans' immediate reaction. The reaction was instantaneous. Thousands of fans were already at the venue, lining up, excited for the show of a lifetime. Many had traveled long distances, rearranged their schedules, and planned their day around this single event. Some were understandably frustrated, expressing their disappointment online. 4 hours before the show, that's impossible, one fan wrote, echoing the sentiments of many. But amid the frustration, an overwhelming sense of empathy emerged. Countless messages of love, concern, and support flooded social media, reminding everyone that this was not a decision made lightly. Fans understood that health must come first, especially for someone who had spent decades giving so much of himself to others through music. The mix of disappointment and compassion underscored the deep bond between Ringo and his audience, a connection that had been nurtured over decades of shared experiences and timeless music. A history of resilience. For Ringo Starr, this was not the first time health had impacted his performances. Back in 2022, he had been forced to cancel several US shows after contracting COVID-19. In 2016, another North American concert had to be postponed due to illness. These moments, while rare, were a reminder that even icons are human. Age and the demands of touring inevitably catch up to everyone, no matter how disciplined or healthy they are. Still, Those who know Ringo say that he approaches life with unwavering optimism. His decision to cancel these shows was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to his wisdom, discipline, and respect for both himself and his fans. Even in moments of vulnerability, he remains a figure of resilience, showing that self-care is not a luxury, but a necessity. A lifelong commitment to health. Ringo's dedication to health and wellness has been a cornerstone of his life. After decades in the spotlight, he had built a routine centered around physical fitness, mindful living, and clean eating. In the 1970s, during the turbulent years following the Beatles' breakup, he struggled with alcohol, a period that had taken a toll on both body and mind. But he turned his life around, embracing sobriety fully and committing to habits that would sustain him for decades. His diet evolved into a mostly vegan lifestyle, centered on fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole foods. He often joked about eating blueberries every morning and ensuring broccoli was part of nearly every meal. Beyond food, Ringo prioritized movement through regular exercise, from brisk morning walks to light strength training and stretching, treating physical activity as a gift rather than a chore. Meditation, learned during his time in India in 1968, remained a daily practice, offering him balance, calm, and focus even in the midst of a demanding career. These habits weren't about perfection. They were about longevity, clarity, and maintaining the energy to continue doing what he loved most, making music. Facing the reality of age, even with these healthy practices, age brings new realities. At 85, the body is less resilient than it once was, and even minor illnesses can become significant. The recent cold that forced Ringo to cancel his shows was a reminder that health is fragile, regardless of discipline. For fans, it was a humbling moment, showing that even the most energetic and vibrant people have limits. Yet, the response from Ringo's inner circle emphasized hope and confidence. Friends and team members shared that he remained positive, in good spirits, and determined to recover fully. This wasn't the end of his journey. It was a brief pause, a necessary moment to recharge before continuing a career that has inspired millions. The human side of an icon. Ringo's life has often been seen through the lens of fame and legend, but moments like this highlight his humanity. Canceling a show at the last minute is never easy, particularly when thousands of fans are counting on you. For Ringo, the weight of responsibility was palpable, but so was his commitment to his own well-being. The decision underscored a universal truth. Even those who seem unstoppable need rest, care, and consideration. It was a reminder that fame and legacy do not exempt anyone from the realities of health, aging, or vulnerability. And in that honesty, fans found comfort. Looking ahead, a spring 2025 tour. Despite this setback, Ringo Starr's story is far from over. Plans for a spring 2025 tour were already underway, reflecting a thoughtful approach to balancing performance and health. The upcoming tour was designed to include residency-style shows in Las Vegas, followed by stops in California, Mexico, and Texas, with longer breaks between dates to accommodate recovery and minimize strain. This schedule demonstrated a careful consideration for both the artist's well-being and the audience's experience. Fans could look forward to live performances without the worry of overexertion, showing that even after decades in the industry, adaptability and self-care remain priorities. A new album, Look Up. Adding to the excitement, Ringo had been quietly working on a new album titled Look Up, his first full-length record since 2019 and his first country album in over 50 years. The project began as a collaboration with producer T-Bone Burnett in 2022, initially intended as a single track, but blossoming into a 9-track album. The songs blended Ringo's signature style with fresh, creative energy, proving that passion and innovation do not diminish with age. Plans were made for a special performance at Nashville's Ryman Auditorium on January 14th and 15th, 2025. Marking a new chapter in his storied career. This album and live event were symbols not just of musical achievement, but of resilience, adaptability, and a refusal to let age define limits. The legacy of an enduring spirit. Throughout his career, Ringo Starr has faced challenges, pressures, and the constant scrutiny that comes with being a cultural icon. Yet his focus has always been on the music, the connection with fans, and the joy of creation. From the Beatles to his solo projects, he has balanced timeless classics with new explorations, always maintaining authenticity. His life and career reflect a rare combination of talent, discipline, humility, and optimism. By taking time to care for his health, he demonstrates that even legends must listen to their bodies and prioritize self-care. Fans see this as a continuation of the lessons he has imparted throughout his life: resilience, balance, and the courage to adapt when necessary. Lessons from a lifetime of music. Ringo's story is more than a tale of fame. It's a lesson in endurance, mindfulness, and passion. It reminds us that health and self-respect are as important as talent and ambition. By pausing when needed, he sets an example not only for fellow artists, but for anyone striving to live a meaningful, balanced life. The same energy that allowed him to drum for decades is now channeled into thoughtful pacing, ensuring that music, joy, and creativity continue without compromise. His journey shows that longevity is not about avoiding obstacles, but about facing them with wisdom, patience, and grace. The comfort of continuity. Fans may have worried when the shows were canceled, but reassurance comes from understanding the depth of Ringo's commitment. The pause is temporary, and his plans for the future reflect the same enthusiasm, creativity, and love for music that has defined his career. While the tempo of life may have slowed slightly, the rhythm of Ringo Starr's legacy remains steady, inspiring new generations while maintaining the joy and peace he has always championed. Resilience beyond the stage. Even outside the spotlight, Ringo's life is a testament to resilience. By embracing health, mindfulness, and personal balance, he has ensured that his passion can continue well into his later years. His story shows that true endurance comes not from ignoring limitations, but from respecting them, adapting, and finding new ways to thrive. In doing so, he inspires not only musicians, but anyone facing the inevitable challenges of aging, change, and the unexpected turns life presents. Creativity without limits. Despite temporary setbacks, Ringo Starr remains a force of creativity. His upcoming album, his carefully planned tour, and his ongoing commitment to fans reflect an understanding that passion does not fade. It evolves. Each decision, from canceling a show to embracing a new musical direction, demonstrates a profound respect for both his audience and himself. By balancing performance with self-care, he models a sustainable approach to creativity that allows inspiration to flourish over decades. Looking forward with hope. As fans eagerly await his return, the message is clear. Ringo Starr continues to move forward, grounded in health, passion, and purpose. The temporary pause in his performances is not a signal of decline, but an opportunity for reflection, renewal, and preparation for new achievements. His story encourages fans to view life with the same balance and optimism he embodies, knowing when to push forward, when to rest, and when to embrace new creative horizons. A life well lived. In the end, Ringo's journey reminds us that legacy is not just measured in albums sold, concerts performed, or milestones reached. It is measured in the wisdom to care for oneself, the courage to adapt, and the grace to continue creating joy for others. Even at 85, Ringo Starr's beat goes on, steady, vibrant, and inspiring, a rhythm that transcends the limitations of age, health, and circumstance. His story reassures fans that while life may demand pauses, it never stops the music of a truly dedicated soul. Conclusion. Ringo Starr's temporary withdrawal from performing highlights both vulnerability and resilience, showing that even legends need time to recharge and care for themselves. His life has been defined by creativity, discipline, and optimism, and his recent pause reflects a continued commitment to balance, health, and long-term sustainability. As he prepares for future tours, a new album, and special performances, fans can take comfort in knowing that Ringo Starr's legacy continues not only through music, but through the example of a life lived fully, mindfully, and with enduring passion. His story is a reminder that setbacks are temporary, that wisdom and care are powerful, and that the rhythm of life, like music, has the capacity to continue beautifully even when the tempo changes.